Hi guys, welcome back. You're watching this video because you need a little extra motivation or something to get you going for your study and everything that's going on. So, just the other morning, in fact it was only like 2 or 3 mornings ago, I woke up having spent a lovely night of thinking as I like to do in my sleep with this interesting concept around the perception as to what study is. Now, I always thought study had a purpose behind it to reach an objective, i.e. results or marks or whatever it is. And then one day it just clicked on me just recently. Study is something a lot more than just that. I mean, we look at it and say the short-term benefit of studying for a subject is we get a good result for it, and the good result then adds to a good mark to go towards a qualification or whatever it may be to have that kind of future benefit. But let's go back to just the minutes we spend studying as to what the purpose of that is. Now, I completely and totally get that in life, we have better things to do in a lot of our perceptions. Like, we'd rather spend time with family, with friends, having fun, exercise, earning money, just chilling out, whatever it may be. Like, everyone has things in life that they're drawn towards, they absolutely love, like the most important things in life. And that's what we all want to be spending our time doing. That's where we want to spend our time. There's no question behind that. We all have that. And everyone's values as to what is the most important thing in life is different. But at the end of the day, we all have those values as to where we would rather spend all of our time. So let's look back at this concept as to what study is. I mean, people talk about study being the process of learning and remembering information, blah, 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 to get good marks, which, of course, does get us these benefits over here. The more we put in, the more we get to here. But I want to introduce you guys to this new concept of study is more along the lines of an asset. Now, for those of you who do or may not know what an asset is something of value that at any point in time you can cash in. So we can look from a financial perspective as an asset is something you own that you could sell off for cash kind of thing. Well, I want to look as to how study can become that asset. Now, the purpose of study is to create knowledge. And that's where the asset is, in the knowledge. Because an asset is something that sits there until you cash in on it. And knowledge is exactly that. We collect knowledge all the time. There's no question behind it. It is impossible to not collect knowledge, because the moment you open your eyes, you're absorbing information. The moment your ears open, you're absorbing information. Even in your sleep, you are absorbing information. It just happens. The question is, how much can you cash in on? And so when we absorb all this information, it all just sort of shifts back there. And the process of studying and writing out study notes and doing all that sort of stuff is to organize that into a structure, because the tidier it is, the easier it is to use and the more value we get out of it. So that's the process of that. Now, we can look at knowledge as the storing of information, the collective information, but when we look at the next concept is this topic of wisdom. And now wisdom is the caching and the starting to use of this asset. So wisdom is the shifting of information from knowledge into practical use. So knowledge is having information. Wisdom is using it. So when someone says that, and when you meet someone who's wise, it's someone who can give you a piece of advice or something in a practical sense from their own experiences, their own perceptions, and that's where that shift of wisdom or into wisdom comes from. So the next element is cashing in on it. Now, the more information we absorb, the better we get at it. And this is a practice thing. So the purpose of study and absorbing this knowledge is to actually get better at it. That's where that asset comes from. It's not from the knowledge you're absorbing in itself. It's from the process. Because the better you absorb knowledge now, and the more you practice it and play with different techniques and everything, the easier it is for you to understand how you learn. And therefore, the easier it is for you to absorb more information down the track. So you know for a fact that if you absorb information really, really well from doing it, you know that down the track, if you want to learn something, you do it. If you know that you're best from reading it, down the track you read it. From saying it, you say it. Whatever it is, you find different ways. And on here, guys, there are so many different methodologies to use as to how to study. So you go through there and you find out whatever ones work for you, and you start to use them. And that's actually creating wisdom, because you're absorbing information in more efficient ways for you. Now, the next element to it is when you start to spit that information out. Now, spitting it out is one level of cashing in on the asset, but secondly is the more you learn now in studying it, the more you're going to learn later down the track. And the more we understand and know, the more things make sense. Things just become common sense. Now, my favorite subject for this is math. So when we look at the topic of math, math is like a pyramid. So we started at our kindergarten level, and each year we stack more and more on. So we actually end up doing the same subjects over and over again. They sit on top of each other. And as soon as we get a gap here, that gap follows and funnels through. And so we can have a gap in just one subject but understand the others. And so those other subjects will progress over the years, but where that gap was, that gap will continue to grow over the years and affect all the subsequent subjects within math. However, when we go back and fill that gap, all the rest of it starts to make sense and it just falls into play. Math is logical. It is supposed to make sense. Long as we've got the foundation base and we keep adding to that evenly and successfully, we get this lovely pyramid as to what math is, and it is just simple common sense. It really is. Year 12 math is actually common sense, as long as you've got those foundations there. And as soon as you get the foundations, you get it. Now, if you don't have those foundations, all I have to say to you is, guys, do whatever it takes to get them. Go out and find the best possible person to teach you those foundations and pinpoint where your gaps are, because then you can achieve anything you want with it. Now, that process there, that is the cashing in of the asset. The ability to pinpoint a gap, the ability to say, this is where I need to go to fill in to create a stable base, and thus understand and have the knowledge become common sense. Because once something becomes common sense, we can then use it every single day in some way, shape or form. Now, we may not use the content, but the process could be important. Math is about logical processing and coming up with a solution to a problem. That's a pretty essential life skill. The more we practice it now, the more we get a handle of it, the more it makes sense, the more it becomes human nature. And that's where knowledge comes from. Knowledge, the asset of knowledge, turns into cashing in when it becomes human nature. When it becomes human nature, you have no limit. Now, I, for one, personally, wasn't a fan of schoolwork whatsoever. Yet nowadays, I am so determined to absorb more knowledge to be able to cash in and use it and create that understanding as to how the world works, that I now play things in my sleep. I now, for 6 hours a night, have recordings of people's voices teaching me things in my sleep, because there are not enough hours in the day for me to learn everything I want to learn. And the only way I can get more hours is to do it in my sleep. Literally work 24/7 is non-stop, because there is so much in life to do. In between work, study, learning, play, spending time with family and friends, there is so much to get done in a day. It's insane. Your hobbies, everything. When you can start to find a way to cash in on every single minute within a 24-hour period, awesome. That's just my personal opinion. I decided that 24 hours is not enough time in a day to do everything. How can you spend time with friends, have fun, learn new things, work, get results, do everything you're passionate about, as well as live your day, have your free time in your own time, do your hobbies, do your passions, and everything like that within one day, and still get 8 hours sleep? Took me a bit to figure it out. But for me personally, it was start learning in your sleep. It's up to you guys. But at the end of the day, what I really want to get across is how knowledge is this asset base. And the more you learn, the more you understand how the world works, and the further you can go in life. Because we all want to achieve the best we can. Because when we achieve the best we can, we get everything we want in life. Those who have everything they want in life are the ones who are determined to work until they get that. That's all there is to it. The difference is the choices they make. They chose to decide that they deserve it, they want it, and they'll do whatever it takes to get it. Guys, it is time to make a choice now to cash in. It is time to build that asset base and just create an entire platform of knowledge for you to use for the rest of your life. I'm so excited you're on this journey with me. We're going to have so much fun continuing our study process and everything over the next few months or few weeks, or however long you take to do the program. That really comes down to you. But I hope this is a little bit of a kicker for you to get you started. Everything you need to know is in here. And if it's not, send me an email and I'll put it in here. But I hope that this is motivating for you and you found something within this that makes a value to you. Speak to you guys soon. Bye.